Um, First, I just want to acknowledge the land on which I'm doing this on, which is the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, um, and to past, present, and future leaders. What I'm going to do is I sort of, and I don't, this has happened on a couple of occasions, but I wanted to look at um, growing, reaching, and then shrinking. So trying to do that with standing up and then being on the ground, and then using that same feeling of expanding and shrinking so that you keep growing. So, and then incorporate breath and rhythm so that as you move to expand, you keep growing, you keep going upwards and outwards. So you're on the ground. So I'll start by doing just a little bit of a stretchy warm up, nothing really big, but that will get us into the mood so that you'll start standing and then we'll slowly shrink down to the floor. That's why I said bring a mat and find yourself into a shape where you can be comfortable and you can breathe at your own rhythm, get your heart rate to slow down a little bit. And then to slowly just let the ground or the floor or the mat hold you. So that as you relax onto the floor, into the floor, even though it might be a concrete floor, like I have one here, it still is going to give you support. It's still going to help you to grow and get bigger. And going to give you that ability to stretch out and up. So what we'll do, we'll start standing.
Getting organized. Here we go.
So what I want you to do is just sort of just wiggle a bit, loosen everything up, get the hips moving a bit, shoulders. Okay, just wiggle, 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 wiggle. And I want you to enjoy this, to be luxuriate in it, so that it becomes a friend, because the movement becomes a friend to you and supports you. So then you stretch out and then shrink in. Do that with the breath. Stretch out, inhale. And as you exhale, you come back in. And just turn around as you do it. Just go into different shapes. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. Once again, inhale. And exhale. And this time, start to find how you're going to get down to the floor. Take your time, reach. Use your leg. You could use your legs to stretch up, really. Roll onto your mat. And then slowly get to a pose or position which is comfortable for you and which allows you to sink into the floor. And just breathe in and out. Breathe in out. Breathe in and out. And if you need to move, and just to get comfortable, to find a nice position, do that. Feel your breathing. Close your eyes, just relax into the floor. The floor is your friend. The mat's your friend. It's cuddling you. It's cradling you. Breathe deep. And out. Feel your arms, feel your legs, your hips, your back, your head, everything just relaxing. Feel your back expanding out. And you'll find as you relax, parts of your body really start to move on their own because it's finding its own sense of level of relaxation. Your fingers relax, your toes relax, your feet, your knees, your hips, your head, shoulders, and breathing. Deep breaths. Your weight goes into the floor. Not only is the ground cradling you and cuddling you, but it's also having your energy rebound back to you. It's helping you to rebound back. And as you do that, you'll find a rhythm of breathing in and breathing out. And you'll start to feel your body sort of going deeper and then coming up, going deeper, coming up. Sorry about that, it's the dog. So there's this reciprocity between the ground and you. What you give the ground will give back to you. And you feel that energy, that impulse coming back. Just relax. Just let yourself go. The ground is there to help you. The floor, the mat is there to support you. Deep breath. If you feel yourself getting tense somewhere, just try to breathe into that area and relax it. If you need to slightly move to get a better relaxing or supportive shape, do so. Because it's your body telling you what you need to do, need to move. So try to establish that rhythm of breathing and in inhaling and exhaling. But also don't make it so much forward and back, but also up and down your breathing. Because that's where you're going to feel that reciprocity with the ground. So front and back, so you're expanding front and back, and you're also expanding side to side. As you breathe in and as you breathe out, you can feel yourself getting thinner, more narrower, and then breathing in, and then you're feeling yourself opening up, getting wider. Start feeling that rhythm. Start being aware of the rhythm of your breathing and opening and expanding. And as you do that, as you start to feel your breathing and that rhythm of give and take with reciprocity of up and down, side to side, you're going to start to move slowly. Because as you breathe in, the air is going to all parts of your body, not just your abdomen. It's going down to your fingers, going down to your toes, your feet, your knees, your ankles. So you're inhaling and exhaling. And as you do that, you're becoming a bit lighter so that you can move, but then you become a little bit more heavier as the air goes out. And you can feel this bouncing, this sort of pushing up slightly from the ground so that you can start to move. So you're going to time it, you get your own rhythm, your own breathing. Take as long as you need to. I'm just going to get up so I can see what people are doing. So when you're ready, you can start to find where your breath is going to your fingers and your toes, all parts of your body. So you can start to move up and down, float. You're still energized. Your breath is still energizing you. Remember, your breath is helping you to move, as well as the exhale and the inhale. And you're using the floor and the mat as almost like a trampoline, but not exactly as severe as a trampoline. You're using the ground to support you, to help you move. And you're stretching. You're stretching up, you're stretching out. And as you breathe in, it's almost like it's almost, oh, sorry. As you breathe in, it's almost like a renewal. And as you exhale, it's like exploring. It's being able to move forward. So your breath helps you to renew, as well as the floor helps you to renew. Everything around you is helping you to renew and to explore forward. So you're getting a momentum. So it's like falling and regaining. So you get this momentum going. Remember, it's with your breathing and your inhaling and your exhaling, and your ability to be resilient to the ground and to see the ground as your friend, not as the enemy. And slowly, as you get that momentum to go with your breathing, you're able to come to standing. Just take your time, don't push it. You'll find it. Your body will show you how to come to standing. Activate your small of the back, your hips, your thighs, your knees, your feet, your ankles, your toes. Don't forget those extremities, your toes and your fingers and your neck, your head. Make that transition from lying on the ground to standing up as smooth and as incorporated into that breathing as possible. So there's no breaks. You're one continuous entity. If you feel as if you're going to fall back or fall forward, that's okay, because your body will catch you. The floor will catch you. Don't think of the floor as your enemy. Think of it as your friend. Okay, I'll just let you know that it's 12:27. We'll go on a little bit more because some people are still working through it. Don't forget the breathing. You could be moving quickly, slowly. Find your rhythm. And those who and when you're ready, start to come to that silent, I don't want to say silent, but I want to say that centering, where you are still, but you're where you're still, but you're not still. And that still, but you're not still is that part where you can move. You're ready, you're centered for action. Okay, it looks like everybody's at that point of stillness, but ready for action. So it's not frozen stillness, it's active stillness. And you're breathing. Don't forget the breathing. And when you're ready, just come to a rest, and then we can talk about Does anybody want to contribute anything to?
That was wonderful because recently I was teaching one of my Zoom yoga classes and I used momentum as part of the class teaching. And so that kind of resonated about, oh, yeah, I'd been doing a bit with momentum. But also, I imagined because often when I teach the breath pattern in the Bartenieff, there's a whole exercise that Peggy talks about being like you're like a bag of water, and that helps you move. And it was very similar, but not the same. And it just reminded me of all my contact improv dancing and all my work with the basic six and the Bartenieff that included the roles. So a lot of these things were just coming through naturally without, like you say, efforting. It was all about following, allowing. If the foot wanted to flex, it flexed. If it wanted to come in like this, I just loved it because it was so, non-specific like yoga. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, okay, put the right foot. I just love that. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for that. Anybody else?
It was very soothing as well. Very somewhere between full and whole. Yeah. And it was good. I mean, I knew the tension I had in my body, but that it was a true deeper insight of how much what stands and what my body part wants it to do, or how to move those parts, which was very different than usual. So that was very interesting for me. It was mostly my lower back really needed care and movements from there. So yeah, that was really good. Thank you. Awesome.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd like to say I really loved the image of the trampoline, like the floor being like a trampoline, but much softer, and that was great just to be able to feel that that buoyancy and that yielding. And also so restful. I feel so relaxed after that, and like Mary Claude, I was aware of how much tension I was holding, but not aware of how much tension I was holding at the same time. So it's very, very restful as well. And I love the space where you gave us space to find our way back up to standing. And I found I needed to come up in stages and give myself time. So that was great. Yeah. I feel like I might need a nana nap after this. That's me.
You look so relaxed, Angela. It's almost like I was thinking, oh, she's going to be like that in that position for the whole time, because you could see it in people's bodies that they were just beginning to. I don't want to use melt because then that conjures up other things, but that the body was able to find its level, like how water finds its level. The body finds its level on how to how much to give into the ground, and not to be afraid of the ground. I think a lot of people are afraid of the ground. They're afraid to I remember when I was growing up as a kid, if you fell on the ground, okay, you pick yourself up. If you scratched yourself, you fixed yourself or whatever. There was never this fear of falling. And I find with young people today, there's this fear of falling because they see it as failure, unless it's not even if they're doing sport. They don't even like to fall if they're doing a sport, because to me, from what I can see, that they see it as a failure. They don't see it as a learning process. And sometimes to me, that means they're not pushing themselves enough, or they might be pushing themselves too much. And that's also a learning process in terms of how much force you have to put in, your coordination, all that sort of stuff. So I think the more we learn that the ground is not there to always hurt us, but you also need to learn how to protect yourself if you fall, and that sometimes giving into the ground when you see yourself falling is more positive and safer than if you brace yourself against it. So that I went on a rant there, so don't worry about that.
But that was really interesting, Teresa, because it took me straight back to thinking about when I had a fall on the edge of a road, quite some time ago. And I really attempted as much as I could to fall lightly. But when I'd fallen, I didn't rush to push myself up. I just sort of settled in there, hoping to God no one saw me. And then I really took my time to get up from that fall. But I know learning to fall is something I would love to do. If anybody knows anybody that can teach, safe ways of falling, that's sort of between Newcastle and Coffs Harbour, I would love to learn how to fall safely. And I've got a few other adults that I know want to do the same, just to practice. Because I found that challenging today, in that there were just so many parts of my body that just wasn't able to just soften into the floor, and felt like I needed, props and cushions and things so that I would be able to soften and let go. However, it really improved. And when you gave permission at one point, it felt like permission to really change your position to find that place. It was like, I don't have to just stay lying like I am. I can move and explore. And that made a huge difference. And so I guess it was, it was interesting that I needed permission before I could actually start shifting a bit.
Right.
And the other was at one point, I'm trying to think what the comment you made about the floor. About it being there, for me, or, for us and to support us. And I found I could then really soften a bit more when I accepted that the floor could support me, and that it was there for me, and that it was okay to lean into it and to let go into it. And I didn't have to be holding myself up from the floor. That just felt absolutely wonderful when I started to get that sense that, I could feel the support. And then that playing around with the getting up. And it was when, there's the one little other light bulb moment for me was when you mentioned in the getting up about, basically bringing our fingers and our toes and our hips and everything else with us. That's how I took it. It was just don't, have my sympathetic nervous system bounce me up. let's actually bring all of my body in one unit to come to rising with my breath. So I went back down on the floor to play around with that. And it was just beautiful to be reminded about bringing my whole body with me. So thank you. I'm feeling so much more centered.
Oh, great.
Mm.
Thank you for that. That's really good. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Marie Claude. That's great too. Everybody. Oh, great. Fantastic.
I was just say something too. I enjoyed that, Teresa. I found it restful and invigorating. And I agree with, get the floor, that we're scared of the floor, especially as we get older.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of time playing with getting up, down in the floor and out of the floor with my BMC training, but I've also had a class for ages of older women, and we spend a lot of time, playing with falling onto the floor and getting up, and just to develop that
Yeah.
confidence, I think.
And I think it also helps build up the ability, once you're not afraid of the floor and once you're not afraid of falling, then the fall is not as traumatic as if, I'm not saying that people won't break their bones or something like that, but the trauma, but the trauma of it won't be so traumatic.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Well, Teresa, when you speak about this, it reminds me of when I broke my wrist. I think it was 3 years ago. And really, I was in a really good space. I just practiced authentic movement, blah, blah, blah. And my feet it was really wet outside on this concrete. I call it my Freudian slip because I found a little piece of Freud in our thing, and I was bringing it into Steve, and I slipped. And because my feet came underneath me, there was nothing I could do, and I knew my arm was going to slam. So, but I remember I was able to track all my sensations, shock, and lay on the floor, tell Steve exactly what to do, help me get in the car to get to where I'm going. And every place I sat, man, they make waiting rooms the most uncomfortable places ever. I would have to sit on the floor and put my arm up and put my head down so I didn't pass out because my blood pressure drops. And people would say, "Oh, do you want this chair?" I'll be like, no, this is how I get comfortable.
Yeah.
But there is something about that comfort in the floor that so many people dread as they get older and older and older. And, because a lot of us still roll around on the floor and dance and different practices, I think it really helps us acclimate, like you say, to even if we have a fall, I don't know. I mean, it was pretty bad arm break wrist break that required a surgery to put a pin in and then surgery to take a pin out. But they're always learning experiences.
No, I agree with you. And I find it really interesting that when you do fall or you almost fall, you are mentally tracking what's going on. And I think that's really important too, because then you actually have an awareness of where your body is in space. And sometimes with that, you can actually avoid, much more damage than if you just went, "Oh my God, I'm going to fall," and you crash down, So, and I know a couple of times I've been riding my bike and had a couple of drinks and and took a corner and fell off my bike. And what saved me was probably that I had been drinking. Well, I mean, not that, no, well, it helped. But the fact that I also laughed because I thought to myself, "Oh, I never did it. I did this as a kid, and here I am going back to doing this again, is falling off the bike." But then when I fell off the bike, I was tracking where I had fallen, where my foot was, where my hip was, and all that stuff, so that I can sit there and literally feel what was going on and realize that, oh no, I'm okay. Nothing's broken. Nothing's sticking out from the flesh or anything like that. So so that I got up and got back on the bike and was okay. So it was like also that whole feeling of like laughing at oneself because you did something really silly that, and think, oh God, I did it again, sort of thing. So I think there's a lot of components about that we need to explore and look at. So yeah, really, really, thank you so much, everybody. The feedback was like really spot on with what it was I was hoping for people to feel and to express. And so, yeah, thanks a lot, everybody. I really appreciated that. Yeah.
I always remind people of the softness of the floor, and especially if you're on a wood floor, and a lot of people that kind of a light bulb goes off, or they're trying to figure out how is there softness on the floor.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, yeah. So lovely. Oh my gosh. There's so much being stimulated in me, and I've kind of got the bit of relaxation effect, but also I'm full of energy too. So
yeah. Well, but that's also what I was looking at, is that some people sink into the floor and that's it. They just fall there. But then we forget that there's this reciprocity that happens between the floor and us. And if we don't acknowledge it, then we don't have that rebounding energy and resilience that we're looking for. I keep thinking of like a lot of indigenous cultures where they walk barefoot and they're on the ground, and like there's this rebounding resilience that comes in. And I think, even though we're on concrete floors, I think underneath that concrete floor there's earth. So you need to go really deep, and you get that resounding feeling, that sort of bouncing back. Because even though it's, because I've got a concrete slab over here, I still sometimes feel that there's something coming through. So I think we need to sort of break our mental barriers of like bricks and things like that, and get more into what's behind it. What are the bricks made out of? Do they really resonate? So yeah.
Teresa,
you're so right. And I'm glad you stated that about resilience, because that's absolutely something in me just lit up about that and went, yes, right on. Because I'm also on concrete slab, and then I've got tile floors. And I've broken so much stuff since I've lived here. I haven't broken that much shit since I lived in Italy, where I had marble floors. So, there's a hardness, and yet you're right. Underneath it, there's more.
Yeah.
You reminded me of, I spent maybe 2-3 years in the Osho commune in Pune, and there was a marble floor there, and we did so much contact dancing on that floor, rolling around on the marble, and bodies and ankles and wrists and hips, into the marble. But because the bodies were malleable and soft and receptive to the whole environment, to each other and to the floor, there was no pain. It was just a rolling, and it was just amazing. And I'd come out with bruises, but it wasn't painful. It was just it was just the experience.
And it's like really interesting that you bring up that whole issue of marble, because then you start thinking about, okay, marble is hard, but what are its chemical components? What is it made out of? What is it coming from? And then you look at like David, that Michelangelo carved, and it's so intricate and so beautiful that you start saying, well, the marble gave into him in terms of what he wanted to do. So there's this reciprocity between the artist and the substance that they use, the material that they use. And like, it's like really interesting. So so as soon as you said marble, that's the first thing that came to my head. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's like really, this whole thing is triggering more stuff in my brain. So,
You see the marble places in, I don't know. I know it begins with a C, in Italy, when we used to drive past it on the way to Florence and Pisa. And Yeah, oh, I can just visualize it and feel it right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love marble. It's cool. There's a
Yeah.
coolness about it. There is a softness about it too.
Yeah, yeah. And like even like if you look at marble, the coloring of it, the
Beautiful.
striations, you know, and you look at that, you must, you know, you realize, okay, so it's hard and cold, but then it's got a softness because within it, there's these beautiful lines and colors. And like you realize that it had to be malleable in order to have that happen. It's just that this is the end product. So it's like really, yeah, I mean, like, oh gosh, okay, stop, Teresa, that's enough.
Oh, Teresa, this is great. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure.
Inspirational, makes me want to roll on the floor.
You gotta do it every day, man.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Maybe we need to do more of this falling to the floor business and rising in these conversations.
Yeah, yeah.
So thank you everybody. Thanks, Teresa, that was wonderful.
Oh, thank you. That was, I really enjoyed doing it. I was thinking, oh, you know, it to me, it was like really simple, but then as we did it, I began to realize how much more in depth it can go.
Yeah.
And yeah, and you know, and I find that really interesting because that brings us into the world a bit more as dance therapists and as movers, you know. So yeah.
Reminds us more and more what we can offer. If we
Yeah.
are working with our older adults, we can certainly work on that fear of falling.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean,
Or
I mean,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm finished. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. No, you know, and it's not, I mean, with older people, they need it more, but even with younger people, they need to know that to fall is not a form of failure, you know, that it can be something that can be very comical, and it also can be something that's a learning process, you know, and so, yeah. So, yeah. But did we, sorry, go on. No, sorry.
No, I'm changing, so I'll let you finish first.
I'm finished.
Okay. I was going to say to Debbie as well, I would look at respite centers for what you were asking, because they usually have, or at least where I used to work at Batiscare, they had special courses for over 50 and after, on how to manage certain position, how to get up, fall, etc. So I know that where I used to work, they had some programs, and I don't know if communities around maybe your area may have some, but yeah, I would definitely have a look at those, and if there's a way that you can join or create a new event.
Yeah, I think it in my area it'd be more creating a new event. I was thinking more, you know, like someone who does contact improvisation.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That might be able to, you know, coach around that falling in a playful, more playful way.
Yeah, I've never seen what they do, but I know Batiscare in Kellyville, they used to do that with different groups in different ways. So
yeah, I know, like, yeah, I used to run stuff many, many years ago as an OT around how to get up off the floor if you have fallen.
Yeah.
But it's more about the practicing how to actually, what to do with your body if you start to fall, and not just, you know, brace and put your hand out, or and I've discovered, unfortunately, that I've got osteoporosis in my spine. So it's something I also want to learn. And I mean, and that's something that just even this conversation has brought up, because I think all my life, because I remember right back, you know, in my 20s and with Marcia's trainings, in that, you know, being on the floor was just horrible. It was just, you know, if there's one of the things I could have changed, it would have been to have soft, spongy, soft floors, but we were often not in halls or, you know, on really hard floors. And it's sometimes, you know, it would almost bring me to tears about having to be on this floor and not being able to soften into it. So, something I've worked a bit quite often with, but there's still this deeper thing about, floor, the hardness that, I've been known to rock up with knee pads when I'm going to a BMC workshop and, developmental movement workshops. I'll take my knee pads with me. So yeah, I'm not sure what I need to learn there.
I wonder if that's something we can explore in this forum, where we just pull some ideas and play with falling to
Yeah.
the floor and rising.
Yeah.
Maybe some people are just bony. And so like boniness sometimes really causes that problem with discomfort. And like when I do yoga, I have a double mat. I like having softness. So I've always had 2 mats. What else was I going to say? But yeah, because when I teach authentic movement, I always tell witnesses, I don't want you suffering. I don't want you on the floor suffering. I've had people sometimes sit in a chair occasionally, like it's one particular person, but that's another story. But other people, can sit on the floor, but I want them to have support, because I don't want you sitting there going, oh, my knee's aching, or my this is aching, or, it'd be focused on that. So yeah, it is finding the layers of comfort. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's okay. If you need knee pads, you need.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And
Exactly. You
that'll
those damn
give
knee pads.
you more confidence to find ways to fall to the floor if you know you're not going to be jarring yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You.
And it's,
Food
I
for
guess it's
thought,
also when you fall, it's sudden and quick. Where if you're doing classes, you're on the floor and you're there for an extended time. So I guess maybe that's also the difference. But I agree with you, Angela. Maybe there's something that we can do, like as a research project, finding exercises or finding,
I think we all have so much experience, in our trainings already. I've done lots of work with Soto where we spent days just falling and rising from the floor, and there's so many ways to do that. And we all have experience. So some way of pooling that and sharing ideas too.
Yeah.
Because some things work.
Hey, Debbie, you need those pads from like was it the rollerbladers that used to have the elbow pad, the knee pads? Yeah. Or the skateboarders, although I think the skateboarders don't give a flying hoot. I think they don't put on padding, but I know rollerbladers used to have good padding. Anyway, just a thought.
Okay, that's food for thought. So thank you, everybody. I'm just wondering, we're coming into the holiday season, and what do we do about January? Do you want to have sessions in January? Or actually, we've got the 3rd Thursday of December coming up, so that will happen. But I'm just wondering if you want to have sessions in January as well. Let's take a break and come back in February. How does that sound? Yeah, got a nod, 2 nods, 3 nods. Yeah. Okay, so if you're around for the 3rd Thursday in December, we'll see you then.
Yep.
And after that, we'll have a break and come back in February. For the 3rd Thursday, okay, Maeve and I will sort that one. I think we're still exploring planes and space harmony stuff, aren't we, Maeve?
Yeah, I'm doing something.
Yeah, that's right. Great. Okay. You want to? Is it the third scale? Place beast.
The A scale, whatever that one is. I have to learn it yet.
Yeah. All right. So that's coming up. 3rd Thursday in December. That's not Christmas Day, I hope. About the 18th or something.
Thursdays in December, so you're in luck.
16th, 1, 2, 3, 16th of December. So
Okay.
if you're around, we'll see you then. And yeah, in the meantime, let's practice falling and rising. As if we
Yes,
don't anyway all the time. Life just gives it to us. Thanks, everybody. And thanks, Teresa. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye. I'll see you next Thursday. I mean, not next Thursday, the following Thursday.
In 2 weeks,
Yeah.
on the 16th. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Fortnightly.
Oh, yeah.
There's also the map workshop the map journey on Sunday. You might have mentioned that at the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
With,
I have to sign up for that. Is that in the evening?
It's Sunday
3 till
afternoon.
5.
Pardon?
I think it's 3 till 5.
Oh, okay.
Or 6. It might be 3 hours. It's definitely 3 year olds time,
6.
and it's Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday.
I'm not going to see you then. I'm moving, so that's going to be my
that's-
exercise.
Okay.
That's
Good luck.
That's yeah.
need a hot bath after that.
I'm going to go, guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Teresa. That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.